Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm Eric, the dude who grows food, and today I'm going to do a bit of a crop spotlight on what turned out to be kind of one of my favorite crops this year, and I wasn't expecting it to do so, but it has done so in kind of reinvigorating me. And let me show you what it is and explain what I mean. So this bed of beautiful plants here, this is habanero. It is a spicy pepper. I'm going to put the botanical name on the screen for you now. And Scoville units are somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 depending on what source you find online. It's hot, not going to lie. Has a bit of a fruity flavor along with that heat depending on the level of ripeness. But to me, what is so incredible about this plant is the sheer abundance of food you get off of this. Now, I've sold a few of these this season on Facebook Marketplace and locally as well. I met a woman who's growing Carolina Reaper, and she mentioned she had one plant and has gotten a couple pieces of fruit off of them. And let's get close to this plant and see what we can get off of one plant in general. And keep in mind that every plant I have in this little patch already has had peppers taken off. I mean, let's start with the first thing that's amazing. I see more flowers on this already, and I can see a ton of fruit. Now, let's get a really good look in here if we can, and just see the fruit that rains down on these. And I'm gonna pick up this branch here as carefully as I can. I'm holding up 20 peppers right now, at least if not more, of varying levels of ripeness. Now let's go ahead and talk about when to harvest these. Truth be told, you can harvest these at any size and color. Typically, I've been selling them to people as a mixed harvest color. I say, in my ad, I say at various levels of ripeness, and they seem to be fine with that. One thing I do like about the less ripe, and this is a habanero that is gonna ripen to red, and I'm going to pull one off here for you. This is the final color, and you can see these striations, and that's an aging, kind of a cracking. Two things that indicates to me: one, this is very ripe, and two, it is probably really viable to use as a pepper for seed saving because of its maturity level. Now, sometimes when you let it get too far, the stem is going to blacken out quite a bit, blacken around this connecting piece to the pepper itself, and it's a little bit soft. So this tells me that this is at a beautiful ripe stage. Still a little paleness on the color there, but ultimately I think this is a pepper that it's going to be pretty much at its peak of heat and sweet at the same time. The one thing I do like about harvesting the younger ones, when they're full size but at their least ripe, I do find they're easier to cut because the flesh is still very firm, whereas these have a tendency, unless your knife is really, really sharp, to sort of crunch underneath your knife, whereas those, even with a slightly dull knife, you can still power through, or you can still slice through an unripe pepper very, very easily. So how do I personally use habaneros? This season I have been using them in primarily two ways. One, I am dicing up about 4 of these to 5 of these every morning and throwing them in my breakfast, cooking along with everything else it cooks. And the other way is fermentation. So I think it's a beautiful pepper for fermenting your hot sauce, even non-fermented hot sauce, because when combined with other ingredients, it brings along a fruity heat that complements other foods beautifully. Here's what I mean. This season is the first time I've actually done a fermented hot sauce, and I'll give you the recipe right now. I de-seed these, and I use 200 grams of habanero. I de-seed a bell pepper, 100 grams, 50 grams of beet, 50 grams of carrot, 1 garlic clove. I ferment that in a 2.5% salt solution, and 7 to 10 days, throw it in a blender, and I'm good to go. It is a beautiful sauce, and I think one thing that carries the flavor is the fact that this brings something more to the table than just overwhelming heat. So how did I grow these beautiful plants? Well, here's what I did. I went to the Dollar Tree looking for cayenne peppers because I know that they've had them there before, because I was actually out of hot pepper seeds this year and I was in a pinch to get something planted. This was probably about the mid-March time frame. They didn't have the cayennes, but they did have habaneros, and I kind of said, okay, I'll go with them. So I did. And in a recycled mushroom container, I filled it with homemade compost that was sifted, and basically I think I had maybe 30 seeds, 40 seeds. I probably just, did a little grid, put them in there, top dress them with a little more sifted compost, spritzed them in to make sure they were damp, put them on a heat mat, threw them in the barn, called it. I didn't even do drain holes on this because I knew once they germinated within 3 weeks they were going to come out, and I wasn't going to saturate the mixture too hard. But this gives you an idea of how loose I can be. And despite that, the start for those plants, this is the end result. 2 months later, we're going to call it probably around May 20th, they came out to the garden. Now between that time, I did take them out of the mushroom container and I did put them in individual cell packs, and they rooted out further, and voila, they were ready to go to the garden probably 8 weeks after the original sowing. And this behind me is now 4 months after they went into the garden. So you can see that if you have a long season, I will say this, I'm gonna step back. These do take a while to really produce at the level they're producing now. It's not a short season crop in my experience, and I say that because my bell peppers, the timing of them was pretty much identical to what these were. I was harvesting them a month and a half before I was harvesting these. So again, you do have to have the season time for it, and you do need enough of the warm temperatures without getting too blistering hot for them to really take off. But the end result is you get a whole lot of peppers off one plant. So again, because we love seeing plants with lots of food on them, we're gonna get another close-up shot here. And I'm gonna tell you, this plant right here doesn't have much because I harvested off of that one and this one recently, but next door neighbor, I mean, within this little camera finder, I'm looking at probably 15 to 20 peppers, and we've got flowers. So if I went hard on some of these plants and got all of the peppers off, I'd have a really good chance of getting some more peppers to be had inside. Now I will say this, we're coming to the end of September now, and our first frost date is probably somewhere around mid to late October by the calendar. But I will say the last couple of years we've had really long seasons, to where early mid-November was the first time the plant like this might get pop dead. So I do probably have time, but yeah, I need a whole lot more people on Facebook Marketplace to ping me for these because I've got plenty to go. So yeah, if you're looking to get into the hot pepper game, you'd be hard pressed to do better than a habanero if you have the length of season and the space to grow them. I will say, I've grown in pots before, and if that's all you can do, that's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with growing in pots. You got to use the space you got available to you. But that being said, I've never had production like this in a pot before. It really does help if you can get something into the ground with healthy soil to really push out growth like this. Again, if you don't have it, you don't have it. No shame in growing in pots. I did that for years. But if you've got the ground space for it, those are the kind of yields you can expect if you really take time to build up your soil and take care of the plant. Now, I never pruned this plant. Some people will top to push more growth. I don't know if that actually does anything or not because I've never done a side-by-side comparison, but for me, without taking the effort to go ahead and start pruning to try to push more growth of fruit, I think I'm doing pretty good without that. So that's it. That's a little bit about the habanero and why I've really enjoyed growing it this season. It's a hard producer. I mean, if you really want to get some good, solid, fruity heat into your dishes, man, you're gonna have a hard time beating that pepper. Plus, it's readily available at most retailers. It is open pollinated, so you're not gonna have to worry about not being able to save seed from it. And from a ripeness standpoint, you've got a long range. So you can go from all the way for its pale green all the way up for its deep red to get, different texture and flavor out of it. So if you're not growing these and you're not averse to quite a bit of heat, I would say go ahead and throw this on your shopping list for next year if you've got the space for it. It's a worthwhile crop to grow, and it's gonna add some nice fun flavors to a lot of your meals. So if you like what you saw here, please feel free to give it a like. If you want to comment, let's chat. And until next time, thanks for watching. Take care.